Coming up on Carolina News, a Gaston rodeo stampede leaves 8 injured. Carolina News has an exclusive interview with the victim's family.
But I was in shock because it literally happened right in front of my eyes.
Next, a mass shooting in North Carolina has left 2 confirmed dead. We'll have the latest details coming up. Plus, Scout Motors opened a brand new $25 million facility in Blythewood today.
This makes South Carolina one of the most powerful automotive states, period, in the United States.
Carolina News starts now.
From the University of South Carolina, your news, your sports, your weather. Carolina News begins now.
Hello and welcome to Carolina News. I'm Catherine Wagner. Our top story today, a stampede at Gaston Rodeo leaves 8 injured and multiple arrested.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. I'm Lauren Smiley. The identity of the victims and those arrested have not yet been released by authorities. Updates are continuing to come out, and our Fernando Banda takes us to Gaston.
It was here where devastation happened. A rodeo took place here that led to chaos without explanation. Brenda Arredondo is the daughter of the victim, and she was at the rodeo having a fun time until this occurred. Arredondo had this to say about the incident.
Well, it was very unexpected, but I was in shock because it literally happened right in front of my eyes.
Law enforcement shut down the event after this, while also making 8 arrests. In Gaston, South Carolina, I'm Fernando Banda, Carolina News.
As details are released, Carolina News will keep you updated.
We have news of a mass shooting out of North Carolina today that has left 2 confirmed dead. The shooting took place in Winston-Salem at a local park. Students gathered at the park for a scheduled fight that turned into a brawl. Shots fired during the fight left 2 dead and several injured. The condition of the injured are unknown at this time and no arrests have been made, but police do say they have suspects. We will continue to update you as further details are released.
A man is recovering after a stabbing late Saturday night in Casey. Officials say the 33-year-old was attacked under a bridge near Interstate 26 and Charleston Highway around 11 p.m., suffering multiple stab wounds to the arm. Police say the victim managed to get help at a nearby Waffle House before being taken to the hospital. A suspect has been identified but is still on the run. Anyone with any information is asked to call Crime Stoppers at 188-CRIME/SC. It was a hot weekend in the capital city. Aiden, how is it looking out there now?
Thanks, Lauren. So currently the temperature is looking great outside right now. We're in the mid-70s and there isn't a single cloud in the sky. Now these clear skies will continue throughout most of the week, as Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday will be in the mid-80s with a really high UV. And this weekend we'll have a little bit of rain. I'll have more on that later in the forecast. Back to Lauren and Catherine at the news desk.
Scout Motors broke ground on its new $25 million facility today. Our Ashley Leonard is live in Blythewood.
That's right. Now this might look like the place that's the latest place to go car shopping, but actually all these people are here for the grand opening of Scout Motors' newest training facility. Now this facility is going to be a hub of learning for the thousands of employees that are expected to be hired by Scout in the next couple of years.
This may look like a classic hobby, building Legos. But at the grand opening of Scout Motors training facility, they're actually building the future of motor vehicles right here in Blythewood. A new training center launched in collaboration with Ready SC and is now preparing workers for jobs with Scout Motors. The goal is to get South Carolinians ready for careers in manufacturing and workforce development.
We've had 17,000 South Carolinians raise their hand and express interest in working here.
Through partnerships with South Carolina's technical college system, the facility is helping meet the demand, offering a pathway into a growing industry.
What matters the most actually is the people. who will walk through these doors.
But at Scout, it's not just about bringing jobs. It's about setting a standard for the workforce.
When I started the pre-hiring assessment, there were 18 of us in the first class. Today, 2 of us have made it through. That wasn't easy, and this job wasn't just handed to me.
The facility will serve as a hub for training and onboarding as the company prepares to scale up its workforce.
This makes South Carolina one of the most powerful automotive states, period.
As the industry grows, today's training facility is the next step in Scout's long-term plan.
Now, this building might be full of tours now, but tomorrow it's expected to be full of 100 new employees for their onboarding process. And that's just the beginning. Scout plans to hire over 4,000 people in the next couple of years as they begin production in 2027. Reporting live in Blythewood for Carolina News, I'm Ashley Leonard.
Look out, gas prices are finally coming down. According to AAA, the current average for gas prices in South Carolina is at $3.69. A week ago, the average price in South Carolina was almost $4. That is 30 cents lower within a week for residents. This comes after the Strait of Hormuz was fully opened last week. Summer brings in higher gas prices annually, and after speaking with multiple residents who did not wish to be on camera, they certainly are hoping the price continues to go down. An Irmo group is stepping up to meet growing needs in the community. Irmo Neighbors are helping neighbors hosted a food and supply drive Sunday, collecting bags of groceries, personal care items, and even pet supplies for families across the Midlands. Founder Julie Zimmerman says the effort started after SNAP benefit cuts and continues to grow. Volunteers say giving back is rewarding, especially as many local families, seniors, and children face food insecurity. Organizers hope to keep expanding with continued community support.
In a world where connection often happens through screens, one man is taking on a hands approach. Literally, our Grayson Thomas followed him along to see how a connection is built from a simple question. Do you want to build Legos?
On college campuses across South Carolina and North Carolina, you might spot Rocky walking up to strangers, not with a sales pitch, but with Legos. It's a small question with a bigger purpose. Like Legos, Rocky builds connections with people, and it all started when he was in college.
So this was my senior thesis project in college, and basically it was, I didn't have the hands-on or sign, and I'd ask people if they want to build Legos as a way to connect with people, and I made it into a documentary.
Since graduating, Rocky has visited about 8 campuses, continuing his mission to bring people together, one brick at a time.
Right. Obviously, having something as like a common ground to connect with people, like same thing as like you go to clubs, right? You have that common ground of whatever the club is to make those connections. So having Legos as that common ground to make those connections with people, I think is important.
His idea came in the wake of COVID, when social isolation made face-to-face interaction harder, especially for students. Armed with a camera and a passion for storytelling, Rocky now documents these interactions, giving students a chance to reflect on friendships, goals, and life beyond the classroom. Even as his following on TikTok grows into the tens of thousands, Rocky says the numbers aren't what matter most.
Like, views, they come and go, but like having that moment to give to someone, I think is more important.
But with each new campus, each new conversation, and each Lego set built, Rocky is proving that connection doesn't have to be complicated. In Columbia, I'm Grayson Thomas for Carolina News.
From a simple thesis project to a growing movement, Rocky is showing that sometimes the best way to build something meaningful starts with just one piece.
Coming up on Carolina News, the drought brought in South Carolina continues. Our Grayson Thomas talked to fire crews and officials about the growing concerns.
A drought across South Carolina has now stretched into its 3rd week, and officials say conditions are getting more dangerous by the day. A statewide burn ban is now in effect as fire crews respond to more brush fires. Grayson Thomas went to a local farm to see how these dry conditions are impacting the area.
Dry grass, cracked soil, and little to no rain, South Carolina is feeling the effects of a 3-week drought and counting. Fire crews say that dry spell is already leading to more emergencies.
So I know the shift that just got off this morning, they ran, I believe, a total of 3 woods fires just yesterday alone, which is a little bit higher than what we normally run when it comes to woods and brush fires.
Low humidity and wind are making conditions even more dangerous, helping small sparks turn into fast-moving fires.
That's where we come into play, and that's where we receive those more calls as something has caused some type of spark or ember, and due to the low humidity conditions, it now caused that fire.
To see how these conditions are affecting people on the ground, I went to a local farm in the Midlands.
Now, while other farms may be struggling during this drought, Caudle Farms is not one of them. With their in-ground irrigation system, they're able to keep all their crops growing nice and smooth.
But not everyone has that advantage. Officials say many fires start with everyday activities.
The most common thing we see is somebody just burning. Whether it be yard debris, a trash pile, something that they're not supposed to be burning. But most of the time it's some type of yard debris. A homeowner, sets a very simple, innocent, trash pile on fire, and those embers go up, and then it creates or catches something else on fire.
That's why a statewide burn ban is now in place, and fire officials say residents should take it seriously. Even small actions like tossing a cigarette can spark a fire in these conditions. If you do see a fire, officials say call 911 immediately and only try to put it out if it is safe to do so. Meanwhile, meteorologists say relief may not come right away, but there is hope.
Most of the time, our droughts are short-term droughts. But within 6 months, we're going to get some type of tropical weather.
Experts say what South Carolina really needs now is a steady, widespread rain, not just a quick storm.
But we need widespread rain, and we need it to last for about 2 days or so, 2-3 days.
Until that rain arrives, fire officials say prevention is key. Clear dry debris, avoid any open burning, and stay alert.
For Carolina News, I'm Grayson Thomas.
As the drought and fire ban continue across the state, be sure to exercise extreme caution.
Now turning to crime news out in Louisiana, authorities in Louisiana have identified Shamar Elkins as the gunman they say shot and killed 8 children, 7 of them his own. In Shreveport on Sunday, the children included 7 siblings and a cousin. 3 boys and 5 girls ranged in age from 3 to 11. The gunman's wife, the mother of his children, sustained serious injuries, according to authorities. The shooter then went to a separate residence and shot the children and another woman. The gunman carjacked a vehicle and led police on a chase into a neighboring parish and was fatally shot by officers. Here's what community leaders had to say.
This was a time for healing, this was a time for prayer, and this is a time to bring the community back together.
Now in more regional news, a delay in the Virginia Tech spring football game was caused by something unexpected, a skydiver. The original plan was for 3 skydivers to land on the field. Wind gusts pushed one into the scoreboard, causing damage. The identity of the diver has not been released, but they are stable. Virginia Tech did release a statement saying our primary focus remains on their well-being.
THC-infused beverages are moving closer to the main street after a new approval cleared the way for wider sales. Our Jordan Felder took a closer look.
THC products are gaining popularity across the Midlands, and now some of your local bars might just have joined the conversation. A legal loophole currently is in place which allows bars to sell beverages if they have a small concentration of THC.
From what I know, it sounds like it's going to pass, and we're kind of excited for it to move forward and see what happens. We have room on our shelves, and we'll take it in stride.
However, it is not consistent across the state.
The current assumption is that the drinks are safe for most students, and many college students here at the University of South Carolina have turned to these drinks in an attempt to turn away from alcohol. However, some students still believe that these drinks are still dangerous and that they should be regulated.
I think definitely be aware of THC drinks. I think people just need to be well informed on it and what they're drinking.
Representative Tommy Pope is a sponsor of House Bill 3924, which aims to heavily regulate the sale of hemp-derived consumables in the state of South Carolina. While these drinks may be popular, THC is an issue lawmakers are looking to agree on.
The trap we're in somewhat is the gray area of hemp-derived THC versus, standard marijuana. And so the difficulty is it's kind of a gray area of the law, as is most marijuana legislation. I think ultimately you will see some variation of the bill, as it comes back from the Senate.
Officials say the rollout will be closely monitored as the drinks hit shelves, marking a major shift in the evolving cannabis market.
The 20th annual Strides for Autism Walk took place Saturday at Segra Park. The event was created to raise awareness and showcase programs that supports and provides education, advocacy, and direct services for people with autism. And this walk did just that, bringing everyone together across the Midlands for a 5K and a walk after.
New student housing is officially underway for the University of South Carolina. I went to the location this morning to get an in-depth look at the significance. An end of an era for the state newspaper has marked a new start for the University of South Carolina.
I know this is an area that's probably going to see a lot of change in the next few years.
Landmark Properties broke ground today on the walk on Shop Road. Here at the state newspaper building, they have currently broken ground and are demolishing this building to replace it with USC student housing. However, this project is more than just a rebuild. It changes a piece of Columbia's history. A time capsule buried by the state newspaper will be given to the university's College of Information and Communications. The capsule was buried in 1991 to celebrate the publication's 100th anniversary. However, the legacy will not end here.
We're having discussions about that time capsules don't always have to be hidden, right? Maybe we can put this in the atrium.
Construction is expected to finish in time for the 2027 to 28 school year. The walk will house 825 students with a variety of floor plans.
We're sad to see the state newspaper building demolished, but we're excited that it's going to be replaced with student housing.
The time capsule will remain sealed until 2040, but in the meantime, its previous home will soon be filled with students. In Columbia, for Carolina News, I'm Katherine Wagner. This rebuild marks a turning point for the university and for the state newspaper.
Well, this weather definitely feels like the perfect weather to get on a motorcycle. Aiden, how's it looking?
So today we do have some great weather, and throughout the week it's just going to keep getting better and warmer. But this weekend we will see a little bit of rain. Hopefully that'll end, or at least be the start of the end of this drought and burn ban, but I'll have more on that after this break. All right, so currently in South Carolina, right now it is around 74 degrees, which was the high today, and the low earlier was 42. That happened earlier this morning. Now as we look into tonight, the temperature will drop just a little bit. As sunset is around 8 p.m., we'll get below 70 degrees. Then throughout the night, we'll get into the low 60s. Now as we move across the state, or across the Midlands, up in York, Chester, and Lancaster, we'll be in the low 70s, and then right here in Richland, we'll be in the mid 70s, around 74. And then down here in Barnwell, in Allendale, it was around 75, 76 today as the highs. Now, today we continue to have this statewide burn ban, and that is because currently we are around 4 to 8 inches below what the NIDIS considers normal for rainfall in the state of South Carolina. That puts 97% of South Carolina in a drought. So that means no bonfires and no campfires. So cancel your camping plans for this weekend, but for throughout the week, you will be able to make some swimming plans in the pool, maybe up in Lake Murray or down in Charleston at the beach. So tomorrow we'll be in the mid 70s, just like today, 74. And then as we move Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we'll move into the mid 80s. We'll be 82, 85, and 84 as the highs. But as we move into Saturday, those warm and cool temperatures won't last for long, as we will see a little bit of rain. It'll still be in the 80s, but that rain will cool us down just a little bit as we move into the night. Now, with those warm temperatures, we see a high UV index. So on Tuesday will be the highest for the week, and then we'll move Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. It'll stay around 7, 8, and 6, and all these are either very high or high for UV. So make sure you wear your sunscreen and stay under some shade if you're in the sun for too long. All these peaks will be between 1 and 2 o'clock p.m. That is all I have for today. Sending it back to Lauren and Catherine at the news desk.
Sports is next on Carolina News. Our Will Driver takes a look into the South Carolina equestrian team's attempt at yet another national championship.
Welcome back to Carolina News. It's time for sports. This weekend, the South Carolina equestrian team capped off a dream season by securing the national championship. This marks the 4th championship for the program and their first since the 2015 season. The Gamecocks went into Saturday needing to upset the number 2 overall seed Texas A&M and did not disappoint. They did not trail a single time during the meet and won in a raw score tiebreaker, 1,696 to 1,473, bringing home another trophy to Onewood Farm. Looking from the dirt to the spotlight, the NFL Draft kicks off this Thursday. As you can see right behind me, this is the order of the top 5 picks at the moment. Fernando Mendoza is the favorite to go number 1 overall to the Raiders, as Las Vegas looks for answers at quarterback after the release of Geno Smith. The Jets at 2 are expected to go for defensive help and are currently mocked to take linebacker Arvell Reese or defensive edge David Bailey. The Cardinals at 3 will look to boost their offensive line, as most predictions have them taking Francis Moinoa, a tackle from Miami, but rumors have begun circulating of running back Jeremiah Love potentially being drafted to Arizona. And the Titans and Giants at 4 and 5 are wild cards, with both needing help on the offensive and defensive sides of the ball. The draft will begin Thursday at 8 p.m. Coming back to Columbia, though, Gamecock baseball was swept this weekend by Mississippi State. The Gamecocks dropped Game 1 5-3, Game 2 9-0, and Game 3 4-3 in 11 innings. The Gamecocks now fall to 19-22 overall and 5-13 in the SEC. Their next game is tomorrow at home versus Presbyterian before a home series this weekend versus Kentucky. Staying on the diamond, the Atlanta Braves completed a sweep of the Philadelphia Phillies last night. The Phillies went up 2-0 early with this Kyle Schwarber home run. But the Braves battled back and tied the game and then took the lead on an Austin Riley RBI infield single. Right after Riley, Ozzie Albies hit an RBI double over the head of Brandon Marsh to extend the Braves' lead to 4-2. And the score would stay that way for the rest of the game. The Braves improved to 15-7 and extend their lead in the NL East to 5 games. Their next game is tonight at 6:45 against the Washington Nationals. That's all the time I have for sports. Sending it back to Lauren and Catherine at the news desk.
Unlocking what's next on Carolina News. A 100-year-old woman is receiving a key to Columbia up next. Finally tonight on Carolina News, Jenny Mixon celebrates her 100th birthday with a special gift. She received a key to the city and a mayoral proclamation of Jenny Mixon Day. She was born on April 13, 1926 in Mayfield, Georgia. Mixon is known for opening her home to others, as she has adopted 4 children along with her 5 biological children. She herself is one of 15 siblings. This is what her children had to say about her. Now, I don't know about you, Catherine, but if I got a key to the city, which would be really awesome, by the way, the first place I would go to is 16 Handles and celebrate, and you best believe I would not weigh my cup after that.
Well, fun fact, Lauren, this tradition actually dates back to medieval times, which I heard were pretty dark and gloomy. Aiden, is it dark and gloomy outside right now?
So currently we won't see those dark and gloomy temperatures or clouds until this weekend. But tomorrow we are having perfect temperatures for baseball. South Carolina's first pitch against Presbyterian will be around 6:30. It'll be around 74 degrees. You can wear a t-shirt, jersey, you'll be fine. But once we get into the 7th inning stretch, will be between 7:30 and 8:30. It will drop below 70. You might want to bring a jacket because as we get into the end of the game around 9:30, 10, it'll drop below 65. So it'll get a little bit chilly, so watch out for those temperatures. That's all the time I have for today. Sending it back to Lauren and Catherine at the news desk.
Thank you so much for being with us.
We hope to see you back here tomorrow. Have a great evening.